everybody. My name is Barbara Johnson, and I am president of the Connecticut Association of School Librarians and a librarian in Colchester, Connecticut at Jack Jachter Intermediate School. We are here today on behalf of the Department of Ed to talk about how integrating technology into your classroom can excite and engage learning with your students. I am here with Laura Hedenberg and Jenny Lussier, two of the board members of CASEL, and we have some sneak peeks into educational ideas for integrating technology. Laura, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Barb. I'm Laura Hedenberg. I am a library media specialist in Barkhamsted, Connecticut, and I teach in a pre-K through 6 school, and I teach library and computer classes.
Jenny, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Jenny Lussier, and I am the Vice President Intern for CASEL, and I teach pre-K through 2 library in Regional School District 13 at Brewster Elementary School.
Thanks, guys. We'd also like to thank the Department of Ed for involving CASEL in collaborative efforts to provide resources and training to teachers across the state of Connecticut. We're going to take the next 30 minutes to give you some ideas on ways you can engage learners both in person and hybrid. We also can give you some training later through a learning menu that we're going to post on the CASEL website. All of those details will be given to you at the end of the video. Please enjoy, and Jenny, would you like to take over from here?
Hi everyone, this is Jenny again, and I am excited to talk to you about Epic. Just as we get started, to get to Epic, the URL is actually getepic.com. It is available as a website, or if you are using a tablet, there is an app for that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share about Epic, an amazing digital book resource. Students can read digital books, they can listen to audiobooks, and they can hear books being read aloud while they are looking at the text. Epic is geared towards students in pre-K through 6, and it is a free resource. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're looking at the student view today, so I'm going to click on students, and if we were logging in as a teacher, we could either log in as Google or use your educator email. Today we're going to go into my class. As the librarian, I don't have student names in. I set it up to be kind of anonymous because it didn't really matter to me which student profile students use. So I have kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade that use it. So we can just click on one of them, it doesn't matter. It's very easy for them to get to and to log in on whatever device that they are using. When they log in, they automatically come to the Explore screen that allows them to search, or they can simply scroll down and take a look at some of the things that are available. You can see already there are series and characters and books that are new and extremely popular. One of the things that I love is the amount of nonfiction and informational texts that are in here, which makes the books and learning accessible to everyone. You can tell, it's very easy for the kids to tell, this is only audio, this one is just the book, and if it's going to read to you, that means it will have the words and pictures, but it will have the ability to read it out loud to them. So if we take a look at one that looks like that, there's the play button. You can change the volume, you can flip to whatever pages they need to. There are lots of great features in here. You can either have the words highlighted as it reads or not. They can go ahead and zoom in, and if they love this book, they can favorite it and it will stay in their library. So we'll go ahead and just...
National Geographic Kids Readers. Climb Koala by Jennifer Szymanski. Vocabulary Tree. Animals. Koalas can climb
they can pause
high.
if they need to. And when they're all finished, they can come back. If they had favorited it, it would show up in their library. We haven't favored anything in this student profile, but this is where it would show up. However, if we looked at the recents, they could easily get back to books they had read. You'll notice that there is a mailbox here with a little number. One of the things that teachers and librarians can do is create collections of books and assign those to different students. So it makes EPIC makes it super easy to differentiate and give each student what they need. In the library, we had done an inquiry about Australia in first grade, and so I created a collection of 84 books. You as a teacher can search and see what collections other people have already made, so saving you a lot of work. You can send collections to other people, and so it makes it very user-friendly and really makes it useful to support whatever you are doing in the classroom. There are a lot of other things in here, such as quizzes and just some other items. We don't happen to use those. We in our school district, we simply focus on just using the books, but there are a lot of other options for you. So just wanted to give a taste of what EPIC can provide, and you can see just what an amazing resource it is. One thing I will mention, because we're not looking in the teacher side, is that you can create classes in there. So if you do teach multiple classes, you can do that. You can assign collections to multiple classes. If students wanted to use EPIC at home, that it is possible, especially with COVID right now. They have, I believe, a certain number of hours that they can use EPIC outside of the school day. However, EPIC operates on a Netflix-like program, and so it's a monthly fee, and so it makes it really easy. Before COVID, it was, I believe, $7.99 a month, and I often break that down for teachers and parents and just say, think about it, that's thousands and thousands of books for the price of one book per month. EPIC is always free for teachers to use during the school day for students. So just something to be aware of.
Welcome to Research It Connecticut, a service provided by the Connecticut State Library that is free for the public. For teachers and students, this is a great resource to add to your classroom. On the Research It Connecticut homepage, you will see all of the resources that they have for free on the left-hand side, including magazines, ebooks, and some search engines, which we will get to. Down the center are going to be some current topic items for students. Right now it's on coronavirus, but there are additional resources for students. And I would like to point out Think Along, which is a tool that my teachers use in the classroom to generate conversation because there's questions, or to generate interest in topics that a student may want to further research in class. So Think Along is provided by Connecticut Public Television and Radio. When accessing this database, students can do that for free at school. They can also do it for free at home, but they do need to have a valid Connecticut Public Library card. That is the same for teachers as well. High school and middle school pages have videos on how to use the resource. So I'm going to focus on elementary school, which does not have its own Screencastify video. This is the homepage for elementary schools. For middle and high school, there are more resources available that are age specific and that can be better utilized at those grade levels. The two resources that I would like to point out on this page for students, at least the ones that my students use with their teachers in the classroom and with me in the library, are Elementary Explorer and Primary Search. Primary Search is a search engine that goes and looks into different databases. Students will get results from periodicals and magazines that are age appropriate to elementary. Students just type in their topic. Their search results will come back and they will be provided a list. On the left-hand side, students can expand and limit by using the slider or changing the number at the top in order to get more relevant information or to research a specific time period that you might have them researching in the classroom. Formats can be HTML or they can be full PDF color versions. Regardless of the type of resource, the student has tools available to them on this page, which includes sending it to their drive, printing, emailing, filing it, and also citing their sources. My teachers love the citing source tool on here because it helps students build a bibliography that is correct and accurate. Students can print from here. You can see this one is in color. Older versions of PDFs may be full black and white without color. It just depends on when they started digitizing in color. In the HTML version of an article, students also have access to audio. Students can listen to the article that is read to them, and they can change the settings. And this will definitely help students, at least in my school, they enjoy it because sometimes there's articles above their reading level. If it's a second grader listening to something that might have more words in it or vocabulary, they can hear it but still pull out relevant information. It's also a great tool for teaching students how to use online resources, including audio, for taking notes. The other resource that I wanted to show was Explora for primary schools. All Explora resources are divided into different topics, but for students who are younger, maybe in second or third grade, who may have difficulty with typing or even with spelling, this will break it down into a visual category for them, and then they can further research from there. Students in my school love this particular resource because it breaks it down and it will help them. If they know they're interested in arts and music, they can click on it and it will give them more topics to look at. The last resource that I wanted to show you, the History Reference Center, is available on all three grade levels and is an excellent resource for not only US history, but for world history. Students can search, but they can also just click and research by topic, and then they have more popular topics at the bottom, such as National Park and World War II. So this National History Reference Center is a great resource for social studies teachers, but also for those students who really enjoy reading about and learning about history. In another video, I have the resources for teachers, and if you have any questions about how to use any of the resources within Research at Connecticut, you can contact your library media specialist or CASEL. CASEL will provide mentors for free for classroom teachers so that we can help you learn to integrate this resource, this free resource, into your teaching to support your curriculum, but also to give students an opportunity to explore. So when collaborating with teachers, I show them this page. You get to the teacher resources by clicking on any one of the grade levels on the side, and then over on the right-hand column are all of the resources for teachers. I'm going to highlight two here, but I do want to say that the Teacher Reference Center, the Professional Development, the ERIC database, and the Academic Search Primer all work as search engines. You can click on any one of those and search for a topic, for example, social emotional learning, or if you're doing collaboration in the classroom. And while these can be broader because this is for teachers, you can be very specific and look in the databases for the information that you need. You can also use any one of the resources, including the ones that your students will be using, to locate articles that will help support your curriculum. So the first two resources that I want to show you are the Explora for teachers. And just like with the students, this is going to give you different topics, but it's broken up differently. So for example, there's a lesson plan database. So if you are looking for something in STEM, you can click on that or just click on the database to get to the lesson plans, and you will get a list of different ideas to support your lessons in the classroom. their student tools, their curriculum standards, and valuable sites for teachers. So this particular resource, while you can search in it, also gives you different topics that you can look at, and at the top, different hot topics or current topics that are important to teachers today. This is a resource that many of our teachers use in school and find the most useful to support, especially with distance learning, when they're trying to add or change their lessons to be adapted to both home and in school. The other resource that I want to show you is over here, and it's the dashboard for educators. When you click at it, this is the home page. And you can see across the top, this has information about Research at Connecticut. Any help that you may need, there's a very good resource if you want to do, if you forgot how to do something, or if you need a tutorial on using Explora, it's all in here. But this dashboard for educators is for all teachers K through 12. And you can see the different topics. The most important ones at the top are going to be the ones that are most relevant for teachers or the most commonly used. And then going down, it breaks it up into different topics such as Spanish language resources. If you need any primary sources, the state library provides a great digital resource for primary sources, especially about Connecticut state history. There are newspapers that are digitized that students can have access to, and you can see the resources go on and on. There are a lot of resources within Research at Connecticut for both students and teachers. This resource takes time to get to know and to best utilize. For me, working with my teachers, it has been one of the best things that I have been able to show them. It's free, it's readily available, and it's relevant to what they need to teach their students. If you have any questions about Research at Connecticut or the Connecticut State Library resources for you as a teacher, or what you can do for students, don't forget that you can have your library media specialist help you, or you can reach out to Castle and we can provide a mentor for you. And that's for either a grade level or for individual teachers to help support your use of Research at Connecticut in the classroom and utilizing a tool that is provided to us on a free basis from the Connecticut State Library.
Thanks, Jenny and Laura, for sharing your expertise on those amazing digital tools. We use those in Colchester K-12, not only at the elementary school level, especially the databases at the researchatct.org website. Those are provided by your Connecticut State Library. They also have audiobooks and a way to share your public library's collection with you, a few different ways. Make sure you check that out. I want to talk to you about a few things that my teachers in Colchester found effective when we went into our emergency learning in March and have carried through now that we're back in school in this year. I also want to talk to you about training you can get on your own, regardless if you're a Google district or Microsoft district. And then finally, to close up our presentation, I really want to talk to you about the Connecticut privacy law and how you can be an informed user of apps and websites and know whether you are legally obligated to get a privacy agreement signed or if you're okay to use it without one. So the first thing I want to talk to you is about Explain Everything, which is a whiteboard app. There are many out there, but the thing I like about this one is it can be used on Chromebooks, laptops, PCs, Macs, as well as iPads. It comes in an app form and a web-based platform. Right here, I'm on the web-based platform, explaineverything.com. There is a free teacher version where you can have 3 projects at a time. You would just need to delete one project to open up a new one. Through Explain Everything with a classroom code, you can invite your students in. They recommend up to 5 to 8 students because they can talk to each other. They can collaborate in a single whiteboard session. You could use this for math or designing or any type of collaborative project you wanted to use. I also use this when teaching virtually to create my whiteboard experience without having to purchase a whiteboard and display it behind me. Explain Everything is a great tool. It does not need a privacy agreement signed. Children are not signing in with Google or putting any personal information in here. They're simply joining your whiteboard with a code. It is different than, let's say, something that's provided in Google, which is progressing. This is a much more robust tool that could be used for Microsoft users, Mac users, or our Google Apps for Education users. So you want to check out Explain Everything. We did make the decision to purchase a educator license. It's a group license. So we're paying $8.95 a user. We have 24 classroom teachers. So it's going to cost us about $150. Great bargain for this useful tool to maintain this. We use it in math all the time. It allows us to bring in our Eureka math lessons, which are mostly PDFs. We can bring in the PDF, we can write on them, we can take a picture of a student work and display it on our digital display boards and then write on it. Students can also join the whiteboard experience and write out their own math problems. So Colchester is utilizing this exclusively for math. The next thing I wanted to empower you with is training yourself. So both Google Apps for Education and Microsoft Teams have provided some robust on-demand training for you. The first thing I want to show you is the Teacher Center for the Google for Education website. So it's edu.google.com/teacher center right here for you. I'll also put this in the learning menu. It goes through training courses for each one of the Google products. So as I slide down, you'll see you can take a Google Classroom course and it brings you up to speed on Google Classroom if you're not feeling this is like where your strength is. Jamboard is the Google product that is very similar to Explain Everything. It's coming on board. Envision it as a bulletin board. When it originally came out, you could take sticky notes and students can join a Jamboard, again, just by a link. This is also covered under, if you're a Google Apps for Education user, this is covered under your general site privacy license for Google Apps for Education. These 6 apps, if you start getting into, let's say, coding, CS First, or some of the other Google apps, you'll need to pursue that because most likely it's a third party and you'll want to have your curriculum director or your legal department pursue a privacy agreement for your students. So each one of these, again, Jamboard, you can click on it, Docs, not your strong point. Click on Google Docs and it brings you through a course to bring you or your students maybe up to speed on the product of Google Docs. And there's videos, there's lessons, and you can see you can go through right from beginning to end. A very simple opening up a Google Doc to sharing, organizing, and downloading, converting, things like that. I am not going to have you watch this whole video, so I'm going to just click on close to this tab and bring you over to Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams, again, I'm acknowledging not all of our districts in Connecticut are Google Apps for Education, and that's okay. Some of the districts have gone to their Microsoft Teams or Office 365 to deliver their content. There's also resources here for you. So I'm just in the Microsoft.com products Teams, and there's training. There's benefits. There's also places for you to engage school leaders, or here's your educator portal, technology in your classroom, STEM learning, and here, the best part, training and the community. This is where, again, just like that Google product, you could go to each one of the apps, right? Word is Docs, and Excel is Sheets, PowerPoint, and you could learn for yourself free training and collaboration for you or your students, right? I haven't had to sign in here, so we wouldn't need to do that. You can go through different types of programming. They're fun, they're gamified, so there's a Minecraft journey, which is now owned by Microsoft, so that would be covered under a privacy agreement for them. And then there are different series where you can create your learning environments or start to build your in-person or hybrid learning experiences if you're in the process of transitioning in or out. So I'm realizing that some students, it's March, and some teachers are still hybrid, meaning 2 days in and 3 days off. Some teachers like Colchester are in person full time, and we definitely still have districts in the state who are virtual full time right now and just contemplating coming back in. These resources are great if you're feeling like you want to come up to speed or you've missed some pieces that you're going to need to provide either synchronous or asynchronous learning, no matter what model you're following. There's an introduction to Teams, as well as these quick start guides for both educators and students. So this would be great to be able to distribute electronically. They're PDFs. They are nice and easy. They are step-by-step models and beautiful photographs. This is clicking on how to use Zoom. So Zoom is another thing where you would want to do some training if you're not feeling comfortable with Zoom. These apps are evolving all the time. So the problem is they'll add a security feature and they may not tell everybody it's there. So things like turning off the chat, but turning on a Q&A in a Google Meet. Fantastic, right? Because it eliminates the chatter that's going to be distracting, but students are still able to get questions and you're, as the facilitator, still able to see them. The new pieces of Google Meet, polls, breakout rooms. Zoom has an amazing new breakout room feature. You assign the breakout rooms and students can choose which breakout room they want to go to. All of this is going to be incorporated in getting started in Zoom. So these documents are contained at the Zoom website itself. Finally, this is where I wanted to spend most of my time, and it probably is not going to be the most amazing knowledge that you're going to gain today. Connecticut has a pretty robust student privacy law. This affects anything that you're using in school with your students that you are requiring them to use for learning. It can include apps such as Remind, if you're having them log into the Connecticut State Database. It is telling you you need a privacy agreement signed between your district and the publisher of that website. Now, in short, what that privacy agreement assures is that if there were a breach at that party's facility, right? We've had Marriott, or I get notices about things that where I've used my debit card, but we've never put a priority on what happens if the websites we use with our students have a data breach there. If they're using first names, last names, date of birth, think about how we're putting our children at risk. Now, it comes into play more at my age level, 13 years and younger, where I'm not their parent or guardian, and I cannot give them permission to use a website without this privacy agreement. And I can't have them create their own accounts. Now, creating accounts for them within the Google Apps for Education, Colchester's Google Apps, or creating logins for them with your Microsoft platform for things we use. If that privacy agreement is signed and you're using it within the realm of the curriculum, you do not need parent permission. So I'm talking things like progress monitoring or STAR, or I'm trying to think of things that we have signed with in Colchester, privacy agreements. So places where I want them to log in. There are some things that are exempt from this. If I'm having them log in with a pseudonym and a password that I've assigned to them, that is exempt. If they're not putting personal information in that. So a perfect example is a website called Animoto. Animoto is a beautiful free educator account. I sign up for a free account. I can have 50 student accounts. They can create pseudonyms, or I can create pseudonyms for them as my class. And they're not putting any personal information there. They're creating videos to express their new learning. Personal information is considered anything identifiable where you could look at it or another educator could look at it and identify that student. So our passwords and usernames in Colchester used to be the kids' first initial and their last name, and their password was their date of birth. So with those three pieces of information, pretty much any educator in our school district could identify a student. So we then switched that to a number pattern and their initials for their username, and an 8-letter word with a number with a capital letter. That also helped with some of the upgrades in the expectations from Google Apps for Education, as well as the updated privacy policies for things like Microsoft and Google that were requiring a more robust password. Please be cautious. Anytime you use a website, an app, you want to use an extension into Chrome or add something into your Microsoft Explorer experience, you need to really be careful and check out this privacy law. Now, do you need to know as much about the privacy law as maybe your technology director does? No. All you need to know is how quick you can get a privacy agreement signed and if the third party is ready to negotiate those terms. The state of Connecticut has a software hub where any educator in the state of Connecticut can sign up for an account, and you can go check out what other districts have already had signed, and they have their contact information. So it makes achieving or getting a privacy agreement signed with those apps or websites that you want to use with your students really easy to do. All you would have to do is click Join the Connecticut Community, use your email address from your education domain. I've already got an account, so I'm going to click just log in here. I'm going to click on and log into the platform, and then you can search just Connecticut's library. People are adding to this as people get websites to sign on or publishers to sign on with the privacy agreement. They're putting them in the Learn platform, or companies can come into the Learn platform and get their privacy agreement signed. So I'm going to get signed in here. That's always my biggest fear, is that I forget my password. So as we get in here, this is going to be super important and help you. If you don't have a technology specialist in your building, if you don't have a librarian in your building, you still are required to follow these privacy laws. If this is the first time you've ever heard that Connecticut has a privacy law, look at what you're using with your students. Make sure that you are not having them put in private information or even that login with Google or login with 365. If they're clicking that button, login with Google, you need a privacy agreement signed, because that's attaching them to a private account owned by your domain. If they're putting in, so my kids have a couple of databases where we've chosen a username and a password where the whole school logs in with the same username and password, that is exempt, right? If they're doing creative work and they don't need to log in at all, like apps on the iPad, Green Screen by DoInk, iMovie, they don't need to log in at all. What they do is they push those out to their Google Drive and they save them to the camera roll, but then they're going into their Google Drive. Do not need privacy agreements signed. A typing program. Typing programs where they're going to click login with Google, and you're going to assign them to classes so that teachers can monitor their progress, need a privacy agreement signed, even though they're just typing, because you're going to have them. So over here, the first thing I did when you log in is you tell them what state, and it adds it to your library. So here's the Connecticut library, and you can see that these green, these are manufacturers and publishers that have signed on to the Connecticut Privacy Agreement. You'll see big ones like Ames Web for progress monitoring. You'll see Pearson and some of those databases that we have, Snap, some of the nursing pieces of software. You can search for anything you want. So if you wanted to find a coding app, I would just come up here. I would type the word coding or code, and it would bring me the apps or websites that have signed on to the Connecticut Software Hub. Again, I, as an educator, can put an app or a website in here, or you can invite, if you wanted someone to be aware of it, you can invite someone here. This way I can say, oh, they are ready to play. I go to the details, or I can request a privacy agreement right here. This is a fantastic first step in finding out, does this app or website that I want to use with my students require a privacy pledge? If you're unsure if it's collecting data, please go ask someone. You can be held legally responsible. Your school district can be held legally responsible if there's a breach in personal data and students are involved. Please, please, please make sure that you are taking care of yourself as well as your students, and checking out that anything you're using in integration is meeting privacy requirements for the Connecticut privacy law. I know this wasn't the most exciting way to end our journey together, but one of the last things I wanted to show you is the Connecticut Association of School Librarians website at ccastle.org. We have lots of research and resources here for you, including distance learning and archived webinars. You are all free to join CASTLE if you'd like. We would love to have you, and then you become part of our mailing list. And as things like this are offered and archived, they're put up on the website for you. We have featured authors and diverse collections for you. We have awards that you can apply for. And most importantly, we have Nerd Camp coming up, which is an amazing day of authors and workshops. All of our upcoming events are posted right here for you, as well as the links. So please reach out to the Connecticut Association of School Librarians if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you want to bring training to your district, if you need a little boost or you have questions about privacy or engagement, or if we go remote again, please reach out to us, and we are happy to provide resources for either your school librarian or your educational staff. We can help you. So thank you for spending your time with us today. I enjoyed talking to you all. I hope the Department of Ed provides more resources for you like this in the future. And I want to thank the Department of Ed for involving the Connecticut Association of School Librarians in their online training for you. Happy Digital Learning Day, and we'll talk to you again in the future.